You heard about the legend of Jesse James and John Henry, just to mention some names. But there's a truck driving legend in the South today, a man called Bandit from Atlanta, GA.
Are you quite done?
Yeah.
No. No.
We are never done.
Okay.
All right.
We're actually saying that after the predictions, we were very done.
Damn right we were.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Last Minute Kickout. We are the trio of bearded cohorts, and we are here to discuss WrestleMania. Joining me, as always, is one very bored-looking Mr. John Turbo Finley.
Hey.
One very perturbed-looking Kevin Eva. And one very glorious looking Pete Titans Creed Nethercoat. How are you all doing, gentlemen? How you feeling post WrestleMania?
I'm currently trying to figure out how the heck I'm supposed to get this belt to you.
Mail.
Mail? Oh, a mail order service, okay.
Yes, spoilers ahead. I am the champion of our predictions. I wasn't going to talk about
just
it.
Buy a little. Just buy a little.
Just buy a tab.
Just buy a little. A whole card, practically.
Welcome. We are going to be splitting this into 3 parts. We'll be doing the pre-show, we'll be doing the first half of Mania, and then we'll be doing the second half of Mania. It makes sense for us, it makes sense for you guys, and you can just jump to everything that you need to jump in that part there. So yes, we'll talk about the pre-show first, gentlemen. Feelings on the pre-show?
I mean, for the 2 hours that it was, I thought it would actually be a little more. Well, it felt like it went by quite quickly, actually.
I'd agree with that.
From in terms of the matches that were on it, again, the show stealer was the cruiserweight match, which we'll get to in a minute. So yeah, but all the analysts and stuff like that, there's way too many.
I think they paced it very, very well this time with 4 matches on the pre-show. It actually felt like there was less talking.
The only problem is that the pre-show was segregated. 1 hour dedicated to streaming on YouTube and stuff like that, and the other hour on network television, which was very evident if you were watching the streaming versions of the pre-show second hour, because we'll get to it when we get to it, because I watched that all of it on the WWE network myself. So,
Kev, your general thoughts on the pre-show?
Very good. I mean, if you look at the times of all the matches, they're actually pretty balanced, with the exception of the Raw Tag Team. But again, we'll get to that later. I didn't see the Cruiserweight title change, I will admit. I still need to do that at some point. But for the rest of them, it was a fair selection, and I think the matches that should have been on the pre-show were on the pre-show. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that pretty much. I would like to point out that one of the matches that on the pre-show, the Revival versus Hawkins and Ryder, was announced after we did a prediction. So we did, in our normal chat, we just did our normal predictions there. I went with Revival to lose. I believe Kev went with Revival to lose.
Yep, I went with Hawkins and Ryder.
John went
and I went with Retain. But of course, I was wrong.
But yes, let's start with the Cruiserweight Championship. Buddy Murphy defending against Tony Nese. I thought this was a pretty good opener. Normal Cruiserweight stuff normally builds the crowd to a relatively decent hype to begin with, whatever there is there. It did seem relatively packed for the pre-show from what I saw. but then
It-
obviously
it-
camera
it took-
angles are deceptive at times.
Yeah, it took probably the next hour before the bulk of the crowd was really there. I think it was still like maybe about half of the seating was filled up when the cruiserweights went out there, because there wasn't much crowd energy while that was happening, but the energy in the match was right there, because
Yeah.
Nice and Murphy were going at it very well in this match, and the different reversals, and even the was it the at the end of it with Buddy Murphy wanting to try to do Nice's knee finisher in the corner to kind of like put him down and whatnot, but of course, a la Rock Cena 1, where obviously you should never go for your opponent's finisher because you will screw it up and you will be punished for it, and that's what happened to Murphy, getting countered and defeated by the Nice knee,
The Nice knee.
the Nice, whatever. I don't know what they officially call it, but yeah, and we kind of all predicted that Murphy was going to drop the title at Mania. It only made sense. He had it since Super Showdown back in October, I believe it was September, October time. So
it's been a long reign for him.
Yeah, it was a worthwhile reign for himself, and it was only evident that he was going to drop it after he was not on 205 Live for the last month or so.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. The women's battle royal. I think the less said about this, the better. I think the biggest gripe we all have is Carmella winning.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Riot Squad just can't catch a fucking break.
yeah, it's also problematic that it basically ended the exact same way as last year, where there was one last person who was in the ring, and yet there was still someone who was outside of the ring that wasn't eliminated, that came right back in and eliminated the last
Yeah, because
person.
Naomi won it in the same
way.
very similar fashion.
Pretty much.
But yeah, Riot Squad. What can we do, Riot Squad, with you? I don't understand. Yeah, it's one of those things that as the match went on, I was like, wow, we're really putting lots of attention to Sarah Logan here. And by the end of it, I was really happy she won.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we had it wasn't quite a Davy Boy and Sean, but I thought for 1 minute they were going to do it.
Yeah.
I think it would have been more appealing. I still think the wrong person won. I don't think Carmella needed it. It would have been better to have pushed a member of the Riot Squad.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. What exactly does Carmella get out of this?
Nothing.
Yeah. Just something to kind of like celebrate afterwards, which we'll bring up later. But no, it's like the one major thing that I was kind of pissed off about in this was Ember Moon's, kind of like small little footnote of a return in this match. She was just put in there. It's like
Most
even though
of
she
the
was
women
out
in this match were just put in there.
Yeah, but this is someone who was injured for the last 3 months.
Yeah, she didn't exactly come back with
gusto. No, and it was expected
I'd say she was there with gusto. She was definitely making a spot fest.
She herself was able to bring some energy into the match with her primal screams and whatnot. But in terms of like the kind of like the crowds, initially realizing, hey, that's Ember Moon. She hasn't been on the roster for the last few months. She's been injured. Way, she's back. And then she gets dumped out. Would have been nice if a returning Ember Moon was able to win this. I would have liked that. Even though
at this point, this would be the point where I would argue that you're misplacing storyline over anything else. And until WWE decide to actually do a storyline for Carmella winning the Women's Battle Royal, then I can't really say that. But I mean, it's problematic off the basis that the women have been dumped for the basis of having a mega finale for WrestleMania. And that's what's really problematic about it. But then if she had made fanfare before Mania or was on the Raw after WrestleMania making a big fanfare, then I'd probably agree with you. But considering most of the people in that match were just dumped there, I mean...
I suspect anyone who's not in that title picture really does not have any kind of plan until the superstar shake-up now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that kind of took off. Sticking on Ember Moon, though, I will say I wasn't particularly happy with the way she was snapping off some of those eclipses.
No.
Yeah.
Some of them were looking quite bad.
I thought she really hurt Lana at one point when she hit her with the first one.
Yeah.
It looked bad.
It looked like she wasn't given much time to kind of get the ring rust off.
Yeah.
For her to really pull off those moves correctly.
If we're doing, a whiplash neck move, maybe just make sure you get a bit of practice in.
Yeah.
Don't we have a performance center for this type of thing? I could have sworn we have one.
It is several.
We've got several of them
now.
South. We're gonna have several of them. But it's kind of the thing that you should have.
Absolutely. But yes, none of us picked the correct winner. Obviously, battle royales are a little bit harder to judge than straightforward matches and storylines. Mm-hmm. So I believe, we moved on with this with both myself and Kev having a point, and that was it.
Yeah.
So no change there. But yes, we move on to the Raw Tag Team match, which I really enjoyed. Hawkins and Ryder versus the Revival, with a little bit of a build up at the post Raw on the same week. But Kev, take this one away.
So this is one of the things I was saying to these two in the Discord when it was all going on. First of all, this was the longest match on the pre-show, which, considering there's 2 battle royals in it, probably says a lot. It went on for far too long, especially in the middle bit. It seemed to be dragging, and it wasn't nearly as intense enough of a beat down on Zack as it should have been. But for the first time in modern wrestling, we have with Kurt Hawkins a losing streak storyline that has not only succeeded, but it's actually come to an end with an actual finish. It has succeeded. I don't know if anybody else has actually been able to pull it off as well as Hawkins has. And it got a big thing. It got a big push. Cole got to break out. The streak is over again because that
in
needed
a more positive.
the streak is over in a happy way, and people the crowd really popped for it. There was a lot of there was some hard hitting stuff from the Revival, and there was enough sort of bits to make you gasp and go, ooh. The spill over the top rope on the suplex was, it made you double take and see if it was, something where they were genuinely hurt. The brain buster on the outside. Now, we all have a good brain buster, as you know, regular viewers and listeners. That looked nasty as hell.
Especially on the outside. Yeah.
And with nice tease there that actually Hawkins might actually legitimately be out. There was lots of stuff going on. It was never particularly clear who was going to win. You sort of wanted them to win. The major brothers, the major players, whatever their name is nowadays. You wanted them to win, but at the same time, you had the situation with the Revival after the Hall of Fame, and you kind of thought, well, actually, maybe they'll stick it or keep it on the Revival under the circumstances. Commentary was full of references to the situation with Bret Hart being assaulted and kapow! There was lots of little nods and not a lot of subtlety to that. And but yeah, it was an enjoyable match. Went on slightly too long, a bit like this explanation. and what can I say? Really, really happy. And there's an additional, really good storyline there that it's been like a decade since those guys have been tag team champs. Now they are again. Yeah, no, they said it's been 10 years. 10 years since they were, but as the Edgeheads, the champs.
Wow. I didn't know they were I didn't know they were champs while they were the Edgeheads back in the day. So
yeah. They picked it up during the whole Edge is an uber heel period. They did pick up this. Probably, I think it's like SmackDown tags or something.
I guess many factions like that have that kind of like moment in
there. But it's been a long time. Lots of thing. They got to follow up with lots of story on Raw, and you had the slight tease of, oh god, they're gonna fuck over Ryder again. But no, it wasn't a case of Ryder got the pin either, which they could have done so that they could have kept it that that Kurt still hadn't technically pinned anybody or anything like that. It was a fair roll up, fair match. Deserved its place on the card, but Absolutely. we got another good title change, another good moment for people.
It was really enjoyable. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
John
I totally agree with that. I just wasn't happy for the fact that I was losing. Until we got to the next match.
I've got news for you, folks. It didn't get any better from there.
Well, nobody got. No, John pulled it back in the next one.
Yeah.
He tied it, but yeah, we
because you said you kept you. Let's rewind saying that you said that I didn't know about how storylines were gonna roll out in these kind of like battle royales things. I think this one here, this next battle royale here, I kind of called this quite easily, didn't I?
Unfortunately, yes.
It's only because they were the last ones in. If it was all spilled out where they got eliminated first, you wouldn't have a leg to stand on with that sort of excuse. I was hoping they'd do a Drew Carey where they'd go straight over the rope.
Yeah, well, Drew Carey doesn't pay him off or something.
Yeah, that was a Royal Rumble. This is
that was
Drew Carey still took himself over the rope, so he wouldn't.
He did, but only after he tried to pay Kane, and only after the Hardys eliminated themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, everybody. Back in the day.
Best Royal Rumble ever.
So they came very perilously close to killing the Andre the Giant Royal Battle Royal here. I mean,
much to your disdain, I think. Much to your disdain.
Yes, I thought that was fucking ridiculous. Nobody cares. Nobody else in this international event. Nobody gives a shit about these two Saturday Night Live people.
I think there's just a big problem is that anybody outside of America who doesn't get to watch stuff like Saturday Night Live, outside of on the internet and being able to do it, no one cares at all.
Yeah, and but not everyone's got Saturday Night Live in America. It's cable channels.
I think if they really want to do celebrity endorsements, celebrity profiling, and everything else, do it with things that everybody's going to remember.
Even I'm vaguely familiar with Saturday Night Live. I had no idea who they were, at all. And again, that went on forever.
Yeah, I mean, something like a Stephen Amell would be more prominent because that.
He is someone who like him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. It's an actor in a character role that's obviously notable. So I mean, he's notable.
Plus, he's trained.
He's also made several appearances on the program anyway. So casual viewers who wouldn't watch anything like that would still know who he was because he's been on the program.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one. Also, we had apparently they couldn't afford Dr. Shelby.
Who?
Because we had this counselor come out from somewhere.
Yeah, the therapist.
Yeah, the therapist. So Braun could get to murder somebody else.
Yeah.
I think they just told him he was a Corvette or something, and then he just.
I think it's. Yeah. The Battle Royale went from something where, I mean, we should have known that something was coming because at the end of the day, from the very first one where Cesaro wins and we won the first one and we were like, this could mean something. This could be the next that King of the Ring tournament. This could be something where people can get their push off of it. No, we're just gonna make it our celebrity promo for WrestleMania and give it to Braun.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
he deserves another win.
what was it? Last year it was Shaq, I believe. I believe Shaq was in one Andre Battle Royal.
Really?
That was the one that Big Show won. That was 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, because Shaq was supposed to face Big Show, and then it fell apart, and Big Show ended up winning that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because last year was Matt.
Yeah, last year
was Matt. Before that
was
Shaq
was in it. Yeah.
Show. Then it was Corbin. Then at the beginning it was Cesaro.
Yeah.
Because Cesaro then took out Big Show.
Yeah.
In the most stupidly impressive. just reminding you that Cesaro is an absolute beast.
Yep. But I think it's quite fair to say that, without something being on the line, like, do you remember when we had the first women's battle royal last year and there was meant to be a women's title shot off the back of that, and that never appeared? And there's just nothing except a trophy which he gets to put next to his greatest Royal Rumble title belt. I mean, it's
and trophy.
It doesn't.
He can stab the Andre the Giant trophy on top of the swords of the.
I guess it's just.
There's like a small tower.
I understand. I understand it's meant to be there as a little bit of fun, but if it actually had something worthwhile, where they're granted a title shot on the Raw after WrestleMania. Not something like it's because Money in the Bank's like literally the next one down the line, where there's a guaranteed title shot within the next year. Like, do it the next
available opportunity, or the next pay-per-view or something.
Well, no, I would literally do it as the Raw or the SmackDown after WrestleMania. It adds some weight to the fact that you want to win it. Plus, you build up
Backlash.
Exactly. I mean, you build up your superstar who you think, oh, okay. Just like the Royal Rumbles back in the day, where we're like, we know that all of the big stars are going to win, and that's who the Royal Rumbles were advertised around. Like, you go back to the Attitude Era of stuff. If you had a Rumble, you knew that all of your big stars, your Undertakers, your Kanes, your Austins, your Rocks, they were all the highest profiled ones, and they were the biggest ones, and they had all the big promos before leading up to the Rumble match, saying like, we're the biggest stars, we're probably going to win. These are the ones we're going to profile. Battle Royale, put something on the line for it. Make it so it's wanted to win outside of just a trophy. Sure, it's something to put on their epitaph at the end of the day, and they get to say, I won the Battle Royale at WrestleMania 35. Brilliant. It's on there. But if you put a title match as a reward for it as well, not only does it mean that your shows after on the WrestleMania week or after it, I do have instant title matches on there as well. It gives it something to fight over, something that fans can be invested in.
Or make it something obvious that there's a storyline kicking off. Last year we had going off into the Deleters of Worlds because we had Bray's appearance and screwing around. And all of a sudden that ended with, okay, Matt's won it, but that's all with, okay, what's happening here? I need to know what's going on with this. What's going on? Bray and Matt were supposed to be while they're working together. So, and the immediate then thought was, okay, which one's turned? Because you didn't know which one had turned either.
Yeah,
so that was a good thing.
But I'll start caring about the battle royales once they're less showy, I guess.
Yeah. But this was the only prediction, by the way, I was kicking myself on afterwards, because as Turbo had inferred, I think, in his prediction, if we'd have actually thought about it, it was obviously Braun, because the Battle Royals are his gimmick, and they weren't going to let him lose it because he was in it.
Because he's won 3 Battle Royals in his career.
They're going to make him the URA in terms of the specialist match man.
Yeah, because he's done technically the Greatest Royal Rumble wasn't a Battle Royal; it was a Royal Rumble match. But the tag team battle royal that he wasn't really a tag team for.
He won it on his own.
Yeah, he won that on his own, and now he's won this one. So
yeah,
Completely forgot about the tag team battle royal.
yeah, that was the one that led into last year's WrestleMania, where he won the bloody Raw tag team titles.
There's a great photo on Zack Ryder's Twitter feed or Instagram, one of the two, where he's actually got with his new title belt, and he's got Nicholas there, and it just says on there, "Thanks so much for all the advice. It worked so well." So
typical.
But yeah, Raw tag team titles, guys. Always changing the Mania. Apparently,
has it been the case since?
Last two have anyway.
Oh well.
But yes, that's going to be the end of part one. Quick roundup of the show. Did you like the pre-show?
The pre-show was a good start. It was a decent start. But granted, the pre-show is pre-show. Like the analysts and whatnot in between was a bit at times. But say it happens all the time. So it was passable.
The only thing I'm going to ask for off the pre-show is to stop spoiling the video packages for your matches. Like, leave them specifically for your actual matches during the card. Like, you've got two sets of video packages these days. You've got your normal promo ones that you have that were all over the Hall of Fame, NXT, everything else, building up to your actual WrestleMania and the matches itself. And then you've got your pre-match video package, and you're just using them on the pre-show.
I don't mind it being like for like the main event ones, like being like a quick 30 seconds leading up to the actual promotional image and what have you. And then you can say, oh, so and so and so and so, it's the main event, or like top of the hour at so and so. Fine. I'd prefer there to be slightly more build up of the actual pre-show matches and make them feel like $1 million.
Yeah,
make them feel super important.
Yeah.
If these are really important and we've put them at the beginning of the show, imagine how important the ones at the end are. It all helps. It all helps exposure to the guys at the bottom of the card who aren't on the main card.
Yeah, and in turn, helps people drive interest to the streaming platforms that they're available for, and eventually maybe get either new subscribers or people to new.
Yeah, do that. Push the network. Fair enough. Under the circumstances, get somebody outside the locker room for an exclusive thing that's in the pre-show. It's not going to be elsewhere. All good, but make more use of the time. Utilize it better.
Absolutely. But yes, that's going to be the end of our pre-show chatter. The scores on the doors for this one right now is, in terms of our predictions, I have 2. Mr. Kevin has 2. And Mr. Turbo has 1. 2? What was the other one you got?
Cruiserweight.
Oh, yeah, Cruiserweight. Yeah, so we all stood 2.
It was 2 all at this time. Everything was okay.
Yeah, everything was okay at this one.
Everything was super
just wait until the next part. All goes downhill from here.
I've been Pete Titans Creed Nethercoat. You can follow me on the socials at Titans Creed, at Gaming Phoenix, and you can find me on twitch.tv/Project Phoenix Productions about 5 days a week, and occasionally on twitch.tv/Last Minute Continue. Mr. Kev, where can they find you on the socials?
You can find me on socials at the Kevin Eva, and that's for my personal Twitter. I can also be found on Instagram at Last Minute Continue, which is sort of the joint one for me and the video game channel. Incidentally, follow the video game channel at Last Min Continue on Twitter, and we're also on Facebook as well and various other places. You can find the YouTube one easily enough. If you wanted to follow all 3 of us as a group for LMKO, follow us for LMKO, it's at Faces in Peril on Twitter. And you can do that.
And Mr. John, where can they find you on the social media?
Of course, you can find me on the Twitter and the Instagram with @TurboXLR, and you can also follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Turbo Drive Live, where I'm streaming every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday evenings.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much for watching. If you've been watching on youtube.com/last minute kickout, that's the one. Or otherwise, thank you very much for listening on the podcast feed. We do appreciate all your support and very much. As Kev has said, you can follow the main Twitter for all three of us at Faces in Peril. We will see you for part 1 of the WrestleMania main card wrap up. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you shortly.